Nature-loving viewers, welcome to Animal World, our co-inhabitants. Today's show features a profile of Wildlife Victoria, a non-profit, volunteer-based organisation that cares for animals in Victoria, Australia's southernmost state. Wildlife Victoria operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, performing wildlife rescues and providing treatment and shelter for injured animals. The organisation has established a statewide communications network with various animal centres, rescuers, governmental agencies and other concerned groups in the state to help them respond swiftly to animal emergencies. The organisation also rehabilitates animals and works to protect Australian species in decline, such as the common wombat. Let's now talk with Sandy Fernie, Executive Officer of Wildlife Victoria, to learn more about this noble organisation.
Wildlife Victoria has been in Victoria for 20 years rescuing injured and orphaned wildlife across the state. We've got a group of volunteers who help us out with the rescue and the shelter operators who then do the rehab and get the animals back on their feet and back out in the wild where they belong.
Wildlife Victoria also holds regular training classes to ensure that its volunteers learn the most up-to-date animal rescue and care techniques.
Wildlife Victoria has a really strong mandate to do training and education. We believe that our wildlife needs the best possible care, and so we try to facilitate our experts to make sure that they're out there teaching these people who are looking after wildlife how to do that appropriately and how to do it best practice, basically. Yep.
In February 2009, the end of the summer season in Australia, the state of Victoria experienced many days with temperatures of 45 degrees Celsius. One of the many heat-affected animals during this time was the ringtail possum, a species native to Australia and protected by law.
The ringtail possums fared very badly during this heat wave because they live in their own nest and there's no insulation from hot weather. Across Melbourne we got ringtail possums who just did not cope with the heat, and they just fell to the ground, and they were suffering from dehydration, from heat stress. And so during the heat stress, we actually had thousands of ringtail possums that were brought into care, taken to vet clinics, and their injuries were things like dehydration or heat stress, but they also had burns to their paws, their little paws, just from doing something as simple as walking across the road or walking on the cement or walking across a tin roof. With such heat, they burnt their feet. And so we were treating them for all sorts of injuries, including some burns injuries.
This past February also saw some of history's most severe bushfires in Victoria's arid regions.
You know, from kangaroos and koalas, who get a lot of attention because, you know, they are the large species, but right down to echidnas and lizards and microbats and birds, and even the insect life has perished in these fires, and they're an important element of the environment. So we've lost a lot of animals. But then there's a lot that have actually survived and been injured in the fires as well. And so we've got our rescuers out there looking for them, searching for them, rescuing and then getting them through to those shelter operators who are trained to look after them.
Apart from rescuing and rehabilitating heat and fire affected animals, Wildlife Victoria also assists animals currently living in areas devastated by the fires.
We're also making sure that the animals that are out there that have lost their habitat have actually got a food supply as well. So we imagine that our food drop that we're going to do, or we're already doing now, will probably be ongoing for at least 6 months and possibly 9 months until the environment can sustain them again. And you know, the actual environment will probably take decades for it to come back to anything like what it used to be. So it's a really long issue or challenge for us to sort of make sure that the wildlife in these areas are going to be okay.
In their food relief efforts, Wildlife Victoria collaborates with residents of the affected areas to better reach the local animals.
We're looking for people who are going to help us with that. We think what we might do is engage local care groups like bushwalking groups and land care groups and things like that, approach them and see if they'll be able to facilitate the food drops in their local areas, because there's nothing like local knowledge for understanding where these animals are going to turn up to search for food, where they're coming to, the local water holes and things like that. The animals that are out there now know their local water sources. They know where to go to find water. Otherwise, they wouldn't have survived up until this point. So we just have to find those water points that they're actually going to and work smart about it and know where the animals are going to come to, rather than trying to chase the animals around where they might be. So every animal needs to come to water source. So if we facilitate food for them there, then we know that every animal is going to actually find some.
When we return, Miss Sandy Fernie will share more about Wildlife Victoria's noble work. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to today's Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants, about Wildlife Victoria, a non-profit, volunteer-based organisation that rescues, rehabilitates and cares for wildlife in Victoria, Australia's southernmost state. We are here with Sandy Fernie, Executive Officer of Wildlife Victoria, who is kindly discussing how this compassionate group mobilises to swiftly serve animals in need. Wildlife Victoria encourages communities to get actively involved in animal rescue work. Miss Fernie now shares some tips for Australians on how to recognise stricken animals needing help.
It's monitoring those animals, asking people to look out for animals that they think are behaving abnormally, possums and koalas on the ground. Always give us a call when you see something like that. Possums and wombats out during the middle of the day, that's a sure sign that something is wrong there. Kangaroos who don't respond the same way, like if you approach them, they don't stand up, prick up their ears and then hop off as quickly as possible. Those kinds of things are things to look out for.
Fireman David Tree saved an injured koala during the Victoria bushfires. While on duty helping to contain the blazes, David suddenly saw a koala sitting by the road and had a feeling that she needed help. So he pulled his truck over and offered the stricken animal some water. Without hesitation, she gulped down 3 bottles while holding on to David, her saviour.
Sam the koala, she's done an awful lot for wildlife and certainly drawn the attention of the world to not just wildlife but animals who have suffered in these fires, and for that we've just got to give her a lot of thanks. I met David and he's just a wonderful man, and he is so passionate about the environment. And he's passionate about the animals, and he has an affinity with them. I can see that he's shown me photos of other animals that he's rescued, and it's no mistake that he was there at that time and saw that koala and knew straight away that that koala was doing something strange. Those are the people that really sort of make everything worthwhile, because they're the souls that really understand animals, and they're the people that I like to have around me.
through a robust communication network, Wildlife Victoria, vets, animal clinics, shelters, animal rescuers, and various other organisations and agencies were able to work together during the February 2009 fires to aid the animals.
We have wonderful people who run wildlife shelters, and you just got to take your hat off to them sometimes because, quite a number of them were up for 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever it took to sort of get these animals back on their feet. And it was an enormous task, and there was a huge pool of extra support. So the vet clinics did an amazing job. Right across Victoria, they were accepting these animals and helping them to start with, then getting them through to the wildlife shelters, and we had vets who would make house calls to our shelters for us so that they didn't actually have to go to the clinic with 36 possums in tow. Some of the vets thought it would be easier to actually go to the shelter.
Following the bushfires, Wildlife Victoria has been working to address the future of animal protection in the state.
We lost about 6 of our wildlife sanctuaries or shelters in the fires. We're certainly going to be able to help them out, re-establish their shelters, their enclosures and things like that. So we're really pleased that the public has entrusted us to do this, and we're really working hard to make sure that we're living up to those expectations.
Sandy has a message for Supreme Master Ching Hai regarding her contribution of $2,000 Australian to Wildlife Victoria.
We're very grateful to everyone who supported us, and thank you very much to Master Ching Hai for this very generous donation, and just rest assured that we will put it to the best possible use and stretch every dollar that we can out of it. So thank you very much.
We salute the staff of Wildlife Victoria and everyone working with them for taking such good care of the animals in the state of Victoria. We would also like to extend our appreciation to Ms. Sandy Fernie for speaking with us about her organisation's loving work. Friendly viewers, thank you for joining us for today's Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants. Coming up next is enlightening entertainment after noteworthy news here on Supreme Master Television. May all animals know peace and freedom.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/AW.